Let's talk about silence. An amazing friend of mine let me stay at this cabin up in Wisconsin for this week. And I'm really grateful because even after one day, I can already just feel a complete difference, a massive difference in my body and especially in my mind. Our universe is made of light and sound. This body is made of light and sound. I am consciousness experiencing an energetic universe of light and sound. That is what I am. And you might think that silence is nothingness or emptiness, but it's not. There's actually tremendous harmony and peace in silence. But most of us in this world today do not know how to sit in the stillness and the silence. People say, oh, I've got ADHD. I can't sit still, or I've just got a really active mind. My mind's always going. But that's just because we've been trained to be that way. We don't have to be that way. It's only because we have not learned how to settle our nervous systems. So we have to understand this body is not physical. We've created a society and a world under the assumption that everything is physical, that everything is just static, solid, physical matter. And everything is just sort of functioning like machinery, like a mechanical thing. Like this body is just mechanical. It's just parts and pieces moving together, and that's all it is. But it's not. In truth, everything is made of light and sound. This body is made of light. It's made of energy. It's not solid physical matter. At the atomic level, it is basically just particles coming into vibration out of a formless field, the quantum field. So in a sense, it's coming out of nothing. But consciousness, formless awareness, is creating this. And it is all intelligent design, because all that truly exists is infinite, eternal, intelligent awareness. That's all that actually exists. Everything else is an experience being created by this awareness. And we are not separate from that awareness. Everything is of that one awareness. Everything is of the one infinite eternal source. And so we have to understand nothing is static physical matter. This body is made of energy, and the energy is being moved by sound in patterns, in rhythms. And it can go in different speeds and different ways, and there's various different notes being played, so to speak. And when we are in tune with the energy, we feel good because we're in harmony. We're in harmony with the energies that are flowing, that are making this whole universe dance together in perfect balance. But when we are not aware of what's going on within us, and our mind is trying to do something else while our body is doing something else, we create this disharmony. Because we are consciousness, we have the ability to affect energy and energy patterns. And if we do not learn how to flow with the energy patterns, we create disharmony within us. This feels like pain, discomfort, certain conditions and symptoms, ADHD. When our mind is trying to understand this world around us, or trying to understand and do things that are, maybe we say, are expected of us, or we're taught that this is what a good person does or a responsible person does, but it doesn't feel in alignment with who you are and what you're meant to be doing right now, because we all have our own role to play in this grand orchestra, we create disharmony. And some of the souls here, some of us souls here, are very advanced souls in terms of the universe. Maybe we have a very powerful mind that's been developed in previous lifetimes. And then we come here where things are slower, denser, meaning the energy is denser and the energies are moving slower. But then we come here with these powerful minds, and we're raised in a society that is constantly going, producing, achieving, gotta prove something, gotta make money, gotta do all this stuff. And we live in a world with lots of complexity. We've created so much complexity. And that means our minds are constantly going and thinking, trying to understand, trying to make sure, what do I have to do today? Did I do this? Did I finish that? Did I take care of the kids? Did I feed this? Did I eat? Did I take care of the pets? And the house needs to be cleaned. And then your work has, tons of different systems, and we're all using technology, and we have to understand all these different technology and apps and different programs, and our mind is constantly being flooded with words. And then when we come home, we throw on the TV and we've got pictures and sounds going, and we're looking at our phones at the same time, and we're overwhelmed by noise. Just so much noise, especially mental noise. And because we're all energy and we're all connected, we're all telepathic. Every single one of us is telepathic. Some of us are much more aware of that, and some of us are much less aware of that, but we are all telepathic because we are all connected. We all have higher abilities, psychic abilities, things like that, because we're energy and consciousness, because we're not solid physical matter, because everything is connected by the one unified quantum field, by the one consciousness, the one source. All right? So we're in this busy bustling world all the time, and everybody's minds are going crazy. And we wonder why. Why is our world filled with anxiety? Why are rates of autism and ADHD so much higher than ever before? And it's because of the society we've created. Think about 100 years ago or 200 years ago, what life was like. The majority of people grew up in a small village, a tribe, a small town, grew up on a farm, many of them, and their lives were so much simpler. There were not all these distractions around. Nobody lived, well, very few people lived in cities that had, 1 million people or whatever. That was very scattered, and most people lived a much quieter life. And really throughout human history, people have lived much quieter lives. You weren't constantly having speakers on or listening to something in your car or looking at your phone or watching TV. You weren't looking at computer screens all day. Our nervous systems were used to, and our minds were used to, a much slower pace of our existence. We had space, we had quiet, we had stillness. And now, the way that things are, we are making ourselves sick. The way our society is making us sick. Now, because we're intelligently designed, the body is always trying to come back into equilibrium and health and well-being. But because we don't understand the sickness, we don't understand the cause of the illness, why are we having all these symptoms? And we're worried, and we're scared of getting sick, and we don't like getting sick, and we resist it. But it's actually what's bringing us back into health and well-being. But because we keep living in this way, our way of being continues to make us sick. We are all sick in the mind. That's why anxiety is so crazy. That's why depression is so crazy. Because we're constantly going through these cycles of going, and then we burn out and we feel awful and we're not in alignment, right? We're constantly stressing, we're constantly thinking. We don't know how to turn it off. We don't know how to shut it down. We don't know how to slow down. And what this little trip has told me, and I've only been here a day, is just how much quieter it is here. I'm surrounded by forest. There's one neighbor over there and some neighbors down yonder. And it's just quiet here. It's quiet outside, it's quiet in the house. And I'm also fasting because I really wanted this to be like a detox, right? A detox from the world, a detox from everything. So I've had my phone off most of the time. I haven't watched any TV, no music, nothing, just sitting in silence. Last night I just sat and watched a fire over there in the fireplace. And my body is like, I can feel it because I'm paying attention to what's going on within me. And it's going through a lot of discomfort. There was a lot of anger. It wanted to control things. It wanted to put its focus on other things. My mind wanted to be focused on something else. And I just had to keep coming back and breathing and slowing down. And I could feel my nervous system winding down. I could feel it. It was like going through all of these cycles that I'm used to, where I'm, generally, looking at my phone or listening to something new or around people, or there's noises around me, or there's cars and there's people and I'm out working or whatever, and there's a bunch of stuff going on. But But slowing down and coming into stillness and silence, our minds and our nervous systems really are resisting this. It's like the nervous system is trying to settle back in and come into your natural rhythm and come into equilibrium and balance within you. And the mind is resisting this, and it creates so much discomfort and dis-ease in the body. And so we have to learn how to manage our minds so that we can come into the stillness, to realize we're not the mind. The mind is a part of us. We are the consciousness that is creating and experiencing the mind. And we're in charge of the mind. We're in charge of where we put our focus and our attention. And when we learn to meditate, many of us struggle with meditation because when we come into silence and stillness, what starts to come up is the disharmony. It could be thoughts that are negative and detrimental, saying like, hey, you need to be doing something, you need to go do this or whatever, like what you're used to, what you're programmed to, what you're conditioned into. Or memories and unresolved conflicts will come up. Sometimes discomfort that you have not been realizing is in the body. Certain pains and weird feelings and sensations will start to come up because you finally stop distracting yourself from them and avoiding them. To heal, to come into good health and well-being, we have to let the body go through what it is naturally designed to do, to come into balance, to come into equilibrium, because it is designed to do that. It's like so many people have ADHD, and even if you look at the symptoms, I would be ADHD or throughout my life, or even like borderline autism, like on the spectrum. But I don't identify as those things. They've never resonated with me. It never felt good to be like, oh, well, that's why I am the way I am, or that's why my mind's always racing. Like, no, it's just because I didn't understand myself. Now that I've learned to understand myself and the true nature of who I am and what our universe is and how it's working and how the energies are flowing and all these different things. And I learned how to manage my mind. Now I can focus on something when I cultivate that inner peace and stillness. If I start being lazy with that or undisciplined with that, and I'm just, not really setting boundaries, and I'm just around whoever, and my mind is just focusing and going on whatever it wants to, and I'm not really paying attention or controlling it, or I'm taking in too much content or whatever, my mind will start to feel crazy again. It'll start to feel overwhelmed. My nervous system will feel overwhelmed, and I'll have to like go and be by myself because I feel so unsettled. And then I feel aggravated or angry or whatever, and I don't want to be around people. Meanwhile, when I come into silence and stillness and meditation, and I'm being very conscious and aware of what I'm putting my attention on, and I'm slowing down and I'm relaxing, yeah, I'll go through some discomfort at first as everything settles back into balance, but then ideas will start to come in. I'll start to receive more inspiration, more clarity, and my body will feel better, and my mind will feel better. And that's why they say you need to come into silence to hear God. because God speaks through you when you are aligned with God. But if you are in so much disharmony and there's so much chaos going on within your body and your mind, you're not aligned with that peaceful, loving source energy. Instead, you are connected with much more chaotic energies. And so our society really needs to be rethought in a whole new way. And we must come to understand who we really are. That we are consciousness and energy. That we are not physical. Our world, the material, the acquiring of physical materials and all this stuff, like, it doesn't mean anything. Our health and our well-being and our enjoyment of life, the way that we treat each other and the way that we treat ourselves, the love that we cultivate, the lessons that we learn while we're here, that's what's important. Because that's what you take with you. You don't take the stuff. The stuff is just stuff. It comes out of nothing. It only has value because we decided it does. It doesn't have any real value in eternity. It's enjoyable. It's fun. Stuff is fun. Form is fun to play with and enjoy, and, but it's not who we really are. It never has been. It never will be. And we need a society designed where we can actually slow down and enjoy who we came here to be. Because we came here to learn, grow, evolve, to learn more about what our unique expression loves to do and what it doesn't like to do. What it loves to put its attention on, what it doesn't like to put its attention on. We're learning more about our unique, authentic expression and developing our gifts, because that's what we will take with us into future experiences. You take your experiences, you take your memories, you take what you have learned and grown and embodied in your soul, because your soul is what lives on beyond this life. This physical vessel, it's just another form that you've taken on. It is not who you really are. It is just a temporary experience of all that you are. And all that you are is so much more. And when we start to think in terms of a very long journey that consists of many, many, many lifetimes, we can finally zoom out and slow down and focus on what's important. Because right now our society, really, it's focused on power and money. It's not focused on love and health and well-being. And that's where our problems lie. We're so worried about surviving that we're not thriving. And this has been the case through much of human history. But we're here to learn of our oneness and to realize that we are designed to work together. We are designed that when we come into unconditional acceptance and cooperation with each other, that's when we can all thrive. But until we get to that point, we will continue to see a very chaotic and divided world. We are the ones creating that because we don't know who we are. By knowing who we are, and this will come if you are willing to sit with yourself in stillness and silence, we can change things. And we can create a world that is enjoyable, where people get to come here and be who they actually came here to be, where we can see more of the world, experience more of the world, where we can feel safe around each other again, where we can trust each other, where we can heal from all of these false things, all the violence, the greed, the corruption, the lust, the gluttony, all these things, we can heal those aspects because they're not our true eternal nature. But we must learn to cultivate peace and stillness within ourselves so that we can be harmonious. If we're in harmony, it allows others around us to come into harmony. And it allows new ideas and ways of thinking to be birthed through you so that you can share them. I love you. Take some time to sit with yourself. Don't be afraid of anything that comes up. Allow yourself to feel it. It's good for you. The symptoms are not bad for you. They are good for you. It's a purging. It's a releasing. Allow it. Surrender. And don't let your mind run amok.